Radio. Welcome to another program of Issues in the News. And last but not least, to all of our viewers who are joining us on Facebook Live right across the length and breadth of Guyana, the Caribbean, North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, and even beyond. Welcome to another program of Issues in the News. Armorel Madramutu, Dani Ram Prasad, Pati Prasad, Bongo Dionandan, Maureen Rosario, Ravi Jaichand, Bibi Ali, Pam Singh. Good evening to all of you. Hundreds of you are already on the live. Press that share button so that your friends and followers can join us in tonight's discussion. Share the program, press the share button either on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, or on your iPad, or whatever the device is that you are viewing the program on. Share it so that all your friends, all your followers can join us in tonight's discussion so that we can have the widest possible audience. So, what is currently the topical issue in the news? As I speak, there are a few persons assembled at the square of the Revolution, and they are protesting the detention of Melissa Atwell, a character with whom no doubt you are all familiar. Melissa Atwell has made quite a name and a reputation for herself on the social platform of Facebook and I suppose YouTube by what she says about people, what she writes about people, and what she publishes about people. And she has been doing this for several years, apparently. I only became aware of the character quite recently. I had cause, as I will explain later, to speak about her and to explain that I have never met her, don't know her, never interacted with her, never communicated with her, yet she published a lot of things about me and about what she said I told her about my colleagues in government, and that I leaked to her confidential information from cabinet meetings and from cabinet record. These are not ordinary allegations. This woman fabricated these allegations against me. I sued her. I encountered some difficulty in serving the proceedings on her because she was in the United States. Eventually, she was served with the proceedings. But that did not stop her. She continued to do her work on her social platform. Then, like everyone else, I heard that she was arrested and detained sometime last week. And she is being held in federal facilities somewhere in Louisiana. And the investigating agency and the arresting agency was and is the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Those of you who live in America and those of you who are au fait with what ICE is, it's an organization, a law enforcement organization in the United States that investigates and enforces immigration laws and prosecute persons for immigration violations or violations of immigration law. That is what this person is being detained for. In the United States of America, by U.S. law enforcement agencies, lo and behold, a grouping of persons in Guyana are protesting in Guyana, presumably based upon the utterance I'm hearing, protesting the government of Guyana and calling for the release of this person. For the avoidance of doubt, the government of Guyana did not arrest Melissa Atwell. The government of Guyana is not detaining Melissa Atwell. From all the information that is available, it is the U.S. government that has arrested and is detaining Melissa Atwell. I see the opposition forces, the leader of the opposition, the PNC and the Alliance for Change, have joined the protest. Well, I want to make it very clear. It cannot be that they are protesting the government of Guyana. They have to be protesting the government of the United States of America. It is no secret that President Donald Trump campaigned on an immigration policy. It is no secret that since his inauguration, he has vigorously launched a campaign to enforce the immigration laws in the United States of America, targeting specifically persons who are in the United States in violation of the immigration laws. Thousands of persons have been arrested in this process and are in custody at various detention centers. Hundreds, if not thousands, have already been deported. The government of Guyana plays no part in this process. And it shows you how not only out of sync with reality that the opposition elements are in Guyana, but it shows you the lack of judgment, the lack of maturity to think that you can galvanize support and you can actually create some credible narrative and implicate the government of Guyana in this imbroglio, to my mind, is a demonstration of how gullible and fanciful your mentality is and your ability to assess a situation intelligent is. I don't know on what rational basis they are protesting the government of Guyana. And the other dimension to this is that they are marketing it and projecting it as though it is some freedom issue. It is some freedom of expression issue. How is this a freedom of expression issue? This lady was allowed to express her opinion freely for years. I will deal with what she said about people. But no one during that period attempted to interfere with her right to express herself. And there is no evidence that anyone can point to. I sued her for libel. And hopefully at some point in time, she will appear in the case. Because the case will go on, with or without her. Many other persons have sued her for libel as well. But those lawsuits were never intended to interfere with her right to free speech. If she believes that free speech includes libel, well, then the court will determine that. And one can't discount also the several allegations, rather the several complaints that persons may have made against her. Many complaints to law enforcement authorities in the US. There are several publications in the social media concerning reports made of fraudulent conduct against this person. Perhaps those are matters that she is being investigated for. I don't know. But certainly, it has nothing to do with freedom of expression. And this person had the habit over the last couple of months of tagging me in her posts. You can go and check it. That is how I know what she says. She tags me. And she tags the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. She tags Homeland Security. She tags a list of law enforcement agencies in the United States in all her posts. Go and check it. They are there. And you are concerned and worried or surprised, rather, when she shows up on the radar of the law enforcement agencies. You are surprised? The results for the US elections came in on November the 7th, I think, thereabouts. November the 7th, 2024. And this is a post that I have, which was tagged to several law enforcement agencies, published by the same person. She said this: some of these PPP supporters dance with an echo. They don't even understand how politics work in America, and running their mouth. Them in the comment celebrating Trump win and hollering, but now y'all could bring home Melly Mel and jail she. He, meaning Trump, might be going to jail before me. That's what she said of the President of the United States. You feel the US is Guyana? We, the President and those in government, as do what they want? Unlike Guyana, the law does work here. This is what she said. Well, the law working there. Unlike Guyana, the law working here in America. And then she said the government of Guyana and Trump could carry their skull. The government of Guyana and Trump could carry their skull. Me not write this. Me not write this. So those persons who are protesting out there must understand that they are protesting the actions of a sovereign government enforcing its laws within the territory of that sovereign country, as that sovereign government has a legal duty to do against those who that sovereign government, through its law enforcement agencies, believe have violated the law. So Norton and Nigel Hughes must know that is what they are protesting against. The American government and the American law enforcement agencies enforcing their laws against a person whom they believe have violated the law. It has nothing to do with the government of Guyana. And as I am on this issue, everyone has freedom to protest, to associate with persons of their choice. As Attorney General, I will fight to ensure that every Guyanese enjoy those rights. Our government will work every day to ensure that those rights are enjoyed. Rest assured, the fact that this person was not allowed, attacked our government for 3 or 4 years every single hour, inside out, without interference, is a testimony of our government's demonstrable commitment to freedom of expression and freedom of speech. A demonstrable commitment to our government, demonstrable example of our government's commitment to freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Where I part company with this person is when the attacks were unsubstantiated. They were lies, fabrications, and when they were personal and vulgar, vile, humiliating, intended to destroy character, destroy reputation, slaughter people's interpersonal lives, damage people's marriage, damage the character of women, people's daughters, people's sisters, people's wives. This woman must go back and read. Today, those people are still going through stress and trauma. I am strong. Nobody could touch me with those things. But a lot of people were hurt. A lot of women were hurt by the publications of this person. Women were described in the most derogatory manner. Their body parts were described. Their personal, private parts were described in the vilest and most vulgar manner. Those women who are standing out there and are protesting in support of this woman, they're supporting that kind of conduct. Is that the culture that they're supporting? Is that what they want? Is that what they're calling freedom of speech? I thought that I would say a few words on that matter before I move on. People say they're dying with laughter when I'm reading the Facebook posts. But go and read it yourselves. Go and read it yourselves. And you judge for me whether what you are reading there constitutes freedom of expression at work. You go and read a personal attack directed to the president right down. Personal attack. I don't think anybody in our government will be offended. We are tough people. We are in government. We are in public life. We know how to handle criticism. But it's when you're attacking people's family, when you're attacking people's wives, when you're attacking people's daughters, when you're destroying people's reputations, unmarried women, married women, and you say the nastiest things about them, and they're powerless. They can't say anything. They don't even know how to say anything. And then you have a whole troop of people under your comments, laughing and mocking people. People used to have joy. The 592, that's what you call it? The 592 Association. Yes, my operator is telling me that's what it's called. The 592 Association. A laugh when people's characters are being destroyed, while hundreds of people, characters are being slaughtered, and they are in pain, and they are in anguish, and they are being humiliated, and they are being ridiculed, and they are being embarrassed in the eyes of their professional peers, in the eyes of their parents, in the eyes of their peers, in the eyes of their neighbors, in the eyes of their community. 592, enjoying it, thanking Melly. Well, let the 592 get you out now. Let the 592 go to Louisiana. Richwood Correctional Center, Louisiana. I warn people, well, not warn, when you mock at the law, it is the very law that will come back for you. When I sued her, the woman cussed me for 3 months straight, laughing at me. I could take my law proceedings and I could do what and what with it. I could take it and push it in all parts of my body. Go and read it. Where is she now? I hope they'll lose her out in time to come back to do the law case. I hope, because I would want her to go in the witness box and explain to the people where I know she from, how I give her the information that she said that I gave her. This woman made up stories, made up, total fabrication. Nobody has ever lied on me like that. I'm sorry, I'm not a hypocrite. Anyway, let's get back to more serious matter. So, the elections fraud cases are ongoing. The trials have begun. And the evidence unfolding is quite interesting. And I would like you to follow the evidence. And if you think that the PNC's narrative and the APNU AFC's narrative that they were the victims of fraud, if you think that that narrative is absurd, that they are the victim of fraud, and that they won the 2020 elections, if you think that that narrative is fraud, you follow the lawyers who are defending the charges. Follow their cross-examination. If you think that that is absurd, well, then it's a different level of absurdity I am reading coming out of the cross-examination and the theory of the defense. From what I have heard in the public domain, reported in the press, I get the clear impression that the defense counsel's theory is that it is the observers who observed the elections who attempted to interfere with the results. In other words, it is the observers who attempted to rig the elections, not Mingo and the PNC. You read the newspapers or go and listen to the interviews reported in the press where the prosecutors are trying to explain what transpired in the court. And you will get the distinct impression that the theory and the defense of the defendants is that the observers who observed the elections were the ones who attempted to rig the elections. The observers were the Carter Center, the OAS headed by Bruce Golding, the Commonwealth team headed by the former Barbadian Prime Minister, the diplomatic community with all the ABC ambassadors, the European Union observer team, AmCham, the local private sector observer team, the Guyana Bar Association. Apparently all of these observers, according to Defense Counsel, were the ones who attempted to rig the elections. And it is the type of mentality that I'm speaking about. It is the same type of mentality that can see them support Amelie Mel and call upon this government to answer for Amelie Mel's detention in the US. The same type of mentality. It is the same type of mentality you see here in the case and almost in everything that they do. So, since 2020, since we assumed government, President Ali, I believe, beginning with his inaugural address to the nation, made reference to a one Guyana concept. A one Guyana concept. And in many, many speeches after that, the president has included this term as part of his everyday parlance. Obviously, with the intention of fashioning a policy that would bring the various races and cultures and peoples of our country together. It's a cohesive force. It's a rallying slogan. It's a unifying concept. It's a principle that denotes our national objective and our national destiny of one people, one nation, one common destiny. Our national goal That's all that this concept is intended to convey and to achieve. And the president has elaborately explained it at different fora, both in Guyana and overseas. In the minds of one person, Amanza Desir, this has become a political slogan. I have never seen this slogan emanate out of Freedom House. I have never seen the People's Progressive Party promote the concept of one Guyana. I know the government of Guyana has been promoting it, the PPP Civic government, but not the PPP Civic Party. And a government is free to formulate any logo, any slogan intended to capture its ethos. And this government's ethos is national unity. We want to project that in every one of our policies and in every one of our programs. And for that we have no apology. And if we decide to put that fundamental national ethos in a national document, that's the government's right. That has nothing to do with party. And the person who is speaking is completely ignorant of their own party's history, because the person is accusing the president of party paramountcy, when party paramountcy was a concept nationally embraced by the party that this person is a leader of and wants to lead. Those of you who are au fait with our history will know that in the mid-70s, Forbes Burnham, at a biennial congress of the PNC, unveiled a new national strategy, called, which he called the Sapphire Declaration. It came out of Sapphire, the Sapphire Declaration. And out of the Sapphire Declaration was born the concept of party paramountcy, where Burnham articulated that the national ethos will be the principle of party paramountcy. That means that in the superstructure of Guyana, the party is paramount. The party is at the zenith of the national structure. So it is the party first, then the government, then the parliament, then the judiciary. So the party runs everything. That is what is called party paramountcy. And that is in a written document that was formally launched and is still part of the permanent records of this country. And a leader of that party today is ascribing party paramountcy to the People's Progressive Party. You see the running golden thread that I'm speaking about? You see the mentality of these people? These people would say anything to make the news. They don't think. So Amanza Walton Desir, when she said this, was a party completely oblivious of our own party's history, and that party paramountcy was something that Desmond Hoyt himself had to distance the party from because of its deleterious and destructive impact on national development, national democracy, and everything else. As a demonstration and an illustration of party paramountcy at work, when the Guyana Court of Appeal was our apex court, the PNC took a Guyana flag and a PNC flag. The PNC, not the government, because the PNC was higher than the government. The PNC took the PNC flag and the Guyana flag and flew it on top of the Court of Appeal building, with the PNC flag being flown on a higher flagpole. Do you understand what that means? Can you imagine passing the Court of Appeal and seeing the PPP flag on top of the Guyana Court of Appeal? Can you imagine that? Well, that is what the PNC did. And at that time, that court was our highest court. We didn't have the Caribbean Court of Justice. You know what they are telling you? What they were telling the people of Guyana? What they were telling the world? That when the PNC does anything to you, when they take your property, when they take your freedom, when they take anything that you have, or they violate the law in relation to you, where will you go for justice? You can go nowhere for justice because we are controlling the justice system too. And if you doubt it, look, our flag is on top of the Court of Appeal building. Not the Magistrates Court, not the High Court, the Court of Appeal building. The highest court in the land is subservient to us, the PNC. Now, a person who comes from that party with that kind of history should never ever make party paramountcy an issue, and must never speak about the creation of a one-party state. Because if you do that, then you are bringing back into national discourse what I'm saying here. But these people, I don't know what goes through their head. So they are reminding you of what they did. The same thing that Aubrey Norton did in the national budget debate of 2025. One would have thought that Aubrey Norton and the current PNC would want this generation of Guyanese to forget that they banned food items, that they banned flour, that they banned dal, that they banned chana, aloo, potato, sardine, garlic, onions. That if you were found with any of those items, you actually would have been charged. And if they were found in your vehicles were seized. That was the law of Guyana. You were jailed for a tennis roll or a bread. People had to eat sardine and bury the tins. That is the history of our country. You were jailed. You were a criminal simply because of what you ate. And one would thought that the PNC would want people to forget that. Lo and behold, in 2025, I nearly fall off of my seat in the parliament when I hear Aubrey Norton say. Aubrey Norton said for everyone to hear that he's proud that they banned food items in this country. And you are telling me that these people mentally okay? You are telling me that they are mentally sound? Go back and look at the debates if you think that I am making this up. I give you these sporadic examples, these scattered examples, these random examples to demonstrate the mentality of these people in order to establish to your satisfaction that these people can never be trusted with the reins of government. Never be trusted with the reins of government. I look at Nigel Hughes, AFC, issued a statement criticizing the government of Guyana for the way that we have handled the Venezuela issue. Now, Nigel Hughes, as you would have observed, has made some of the most startling statements ever made in this country. The last one being that there is nothing wrong with his wife, Cathy Hughes, giving, as a minister of the government, giving her company, which she owns, her personal company, a contract from her ministry. Nigel Hughes says that there is nothing wrong with that. This is Nigel Hughes who told a world the shocking mathematical theory that 33 is not a majority of 65. This same guy. This is the same guy who says to the Guyanese people that, look, I will continue to work for ExxonMobil. You can have whatever problem you want with ExxonMobil. I am not going to speak on it because I am working for ExxonMobil. I have chosen Exxon over you, Guyana. My allegiance is with Exxon, not with you, Guyana. However, if you make me the president, well, then I will leave Exxon and come over your side. This guy says that with a straight face to the Guyanese people. So you got to understand that mentality. And that's why I am taking my time to give you these examples. These are real concrete examples which exemplify the mental state of these people. These are not aberrations, you know. These are well thought out positions adopted by these educated people. It's against that backdrop that you got to look at the statement from on Venezuela. This guy is currently representing an American company that is seeking, through legal proceedings, to enforce an award granted against certain Venezuelan companies and the Venezuelan government And he wants a court in Guyana to give him permission to take from Guyana Central Bank monies that are lodged there, destined for Venezuela. This guy wants a Guyana court to give an American company that authority to take from the Guyanese treasury monies that have been earmarked for Venezuela. And he doesn't see that being endangering our national integrity and our national sovereignty. He doesn't see a problem with that. But he issues a statement attacking the government of Guyana's approach to this situation. The government of Guyana's approach is informed by intelligence and the advice of experts. The government of Guyana doesn't act arbitrarily or capriciously. We have a large body of experts advising the government of Guyana on these matters. And we are fed a lot of intelligence which impacts the positions that we take. These are matters of national security. The leader of the opposition is kept abreast, and our position is lauded by the important international agencies and by our strategic partners at CARICOM, in the OAS, at the level of the Commonwealth, at the United Nations, and by important governments across the region, North America, and in Europe. Guyana's position is lauded. Nigel Hughes and the AFC can't. They simply don't know what they're speaking about. They are unqualified and incapable of making an intelligent assessment of Guyana's posture on this matter. They are unqualified and incapable, unqualified to and incapable of making any intelligent assessment of our posture. The position that we have taken has won the approbation of the entire democratic world. Over and over again. So what Nigel Hughes and the AFC say on this matter is of no importance at all. None whatsoever. I want to also speak about an important case that is ongoing before the Honorable Chief Justice, and that is the case in respect of the amendments that were done to the National Registration Act, where the amendments removed the issue of residency from the law to bring the law in conformity with the Constitution. It is settled law that the Constitution does not require a person to be resident in Guyana to be qualified to vote or qualified to be registered. And the law that was changed in 1980, that position. Prior to that, you had to have been registered. You had to have been resident in Guyana, sorry. In 1980, we changed the constitution, but we took a very, very long time to change the law to bring it in conformity with the constitution. That is what we have now done. The PNC filed a challenge to it, and oh my God, yesterday I had to compliment the Honorable Chief Justice. The judge took over 2 hours in trying to get the lawyer to understand. Took about 2 hours to understand what the lawyer was saying. And I don't think she has done that. I don't think she understood what was being said, because what was being said was, it is the same type of thing that I'm speaking about here. The same mentality. We changed the law. And the lawyer is asking the court to interpret the law that we just changed so that it can read what it was before the change. Have you ever heard anything like that in your life? In other words, the lawyer is inviting the court to repeal what Parliament just enacted. That is in essence what the lawyer is asking the court to do. Again, that is a demonstration of these people's mentality. Nothing they can do right. Last week, I made a statement that Guyanese are living the best quality of life ever in the history of our country. Many of them, I saw them on social media, jump down my throat to say I must be speaking only of PPP people. I am speaking generally. I live here. I grew up here. I lived my entire life in this country. I don't need anyone to second guess me. I hear some of them teaching at universities. They live in different parts of the United States, but they are authority. They are the authorities on the type of lifestyle that we live in Guyana. But I ask you, every single Guyanese listening to me, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, do an introspection where you were 20 years ago. Where were you living? Did you own your own property? What were you driving? Or were you driving at all? What quality of life were you living? Could you have been able to travel overseas? Are you able to travel overseas now? Those are little questions that I want you to ask yourself. Now, I am not saying at all that there is no poverty in this country. I will never say that. I am not saying at all that we don't have poor people. We have poor people. We have poverty in Guyana, and every day we are working to eradicate poverty. But that doesn't mean that we must bury our heads in the sand and don't recognize the progress that we are making as a people and as a country. And there are so many indicators to show that. But these people want us to not recognize that, because if they recognize that, the government would look good. And they don't want the government to look good. And they rush back here at every opportunity they get. If Guyana is so bad and the place is, you got so much punishment and so much poverty, why are you coming here? Why you don't stay in the land of milk and honey? Anyway, my operator is signaling to me, unfortunately, that we have come to program time now. I want to thank you very much for being with me over the past hour. I think we have covered some very important issues. And you will join me next week, or I will join you next week as we resume our important discussions. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.